Well, thank you for that intro. It's a pleasure to be here today. So, my talk is going to cover three different topics: genomics, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence, and how they have shaped our realities. So, in medicine, we usually measure progress in discoveries: a new gene identified, a new protein understood, a new algorithm built. But when it comes to patients and families, progress is measured differently. It's measured in answers, in options, and time. Time to understand what's wrong, time to choose the right option, and time that a family gets back when they thought they were running out of it. Now, for most of history, medicine has done its best with only part of the picture. We would see symptoms, we would study the tissue, but much of the disease would remain hidden beneath the surface. But that's beginning to change because with omics, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence, we get a far deeper view of the disease, not just where it appears, but what drives it at a molecular level. And when that happens, medicine becomes promising, precise, and more humane. Now, this possibility had driven me for most of my life. I grew up surrounded by a belief that problems are meant to be solved. My dad, an engineer, faced tough challenges head on. My mom, a physician, was devoted to healing. And my sister, a BioHive pioneer, made the impossible possible. In our home, we never asked what if, but always why not. So growing up in this environment from a young age, I dreamed about creating technology that could bridge science and humanities, solving problems that truly matter. Now, this dream crystallized years later in a biology class at MIT, where Professor Eric Lander held up a copy of the Nature magazine and declared the first human genome had been sequenced. By 2003, the Human Genome Project had mapped over 90% of the genome, our DNA blueprints, a monumental achievement that was completed over 10 years at a cost of $2.7 billion. For the first time ever, we could see diseases as errors in life's code rather than unsolvable mysteries. At that moment, in that class, I fell in love with genomics, not just as a science, but as a tool to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges. This vision shaped my career. After finishing my undergraduate and graduate studies at MIT, I embarked on a career in genomics. I became the youngest product manager to lead a revolution in genomics by making DNA sequencing affordable. At Illumina in 2013, I led the launch of the first sequencing platform, HiSeq that reduced its costs. Now, this first revolution wasn't just about affordability, it was about accessibility. Genomics became accessible to patients, physicians, families, and more. And doctors could now classify a tumor based on the specific mutation, leading to tailored, effective therapies. Now, the first revolution was around reducing the cost, but the second revolution was around speed. To make genomics clinically relevant, time-wise, they have to align with that of patient care. Sequencing a genome once took years, and then months, and then weeks. But during my time at Illumina, I helped develop technology to reduce that to hours. Now, for patients that are dealing with aggressive diseases, this can mean the difference between life and death, leading to tailored treatments and faster diagnosis and better recovery. But as we got better at reading the code of life, faster and cheaper, I began to realize something else. Reading biology is not the same as acting on it. And that's where the third revolution begins. It's leveraging cloud computing and artificial intelligence to turn biological insights into better medicine. This is why over 5 years ago, I transitioned from genomics to cloud computing, AWS, to help with this next revolution. Today, I focus on building cloud solutions that can help fuel drug discovery. Now, drug discovery at its core deals with three main challenges. First one is identifying the right biological target. Second one is designing the molecule or the drug that can actually interfere and act with that target. And third is actually for identifying a group of patients that could benefit from that treatment. Solving these challenges is important because drug discovery is still extraordinarily time consuming, expensive, and inefficient. In fact, if you look at cross drugs, on average, it takes about 10 to 15 years to bring a drug to the market and it can cost between $1 to $2.6 billion, and it could still end in failure. In fact, over 80% of drugs, they fail in clinical trials. And this is not because scientists are not working hard enough. It's because biology is extraordinarily complex. And until recently, we did not have the data, the technology, the compute power to actually understand this complexity and be able to act on it. But that's changing due to the three trends that we're focusing on. First is omics. It's becoming faster and cheaper, and it's unlocking an explosion of human multi-omics data. What does this mean? Is that we can actually understand disease at much deeper level at DNA, RNA, protein, gene expression. Second is cloud computing. Cloud computing is now enabling us to analyze this vast amount of multi-omics and multimodal data at scale and be able to make sense of it. And the third one is artificial intelligence. So AI is more and more being used in early drug discovery to help us identify better targets for disease, to help us predict which molecules are going to be better drug candidates in dry lab before spending hours and weeks and months and dollars in wet lab, and also even helping scientists design better experiments. Also, we're more and more seeing agentic AI being used in pharma. So these agents, they do more than just answer simple questions. They can help scientists search within literature, connect findings across different data sets, help them generate hypotheses, rank and prioritize different targets, and analyze a vast amount of data. So they can work at an interconnected system with an agentic orchestrator to help scientists speed up the workflow. And this journey is more than professional for me. It's very personal. So I spent over 15 years of my life in genomics and cloud computing to improve human health. And I always refer to the patient as an imaginary individual. But about 3 years ago, that mission became deeply personal. The anxious family in the hospital room was my own, and the patient receiving the diagnosis was my mother, glioblastoma, the most aggressive form of brain cancer. At that moment, everything became deeply personal. The abstract became tangible. The stakes were no longer about advancing science. It was about my mom's life. Genomic sequencing didn't just give us a diagnosis. It gave us a roadmap. It pinpointed the specific mutations and chromosomal changes that define my mom's cancer's molecular profile. By combining data from genomic sequencing with MRI imaging, we were able to intelligently evaluate clinical trials and access options otherwise we wouldn't have had. The power of genomics and data is very compelling in medicine today. But as I was standing at that hospital room, I learned something else. That information alone is not enough. A roadmap is only helpful if you have someone that can actually guide you through it. Even with my background in genomics and my mom's medical expertise, we were overwhelmed because families and patients, they don't experience illness as a scientific milestone. They experience it as fear, as uncertainty, and the pressure to make impossible decisions under impossible timelines. And this is yet another area where I truly believe AI can make a huge difference, not by replacing the physicians and not by removing the human judgments, but by actually helping everyone involved make sense of the complexity of the disease, surface options sooner, and help everyone make better and more informed decisions. So for me, This is why I truly believe in what I do. The convergence of computation and biology, because when it's someone that you care about, that you love, you don't necessarily care about cloud computing, omics, artificial intelligence for its own sake. You care about what they make possible, that a mutation can be found, that a file can be matched, that a decision can be made sooner, that care can be more personal and more informed. And so I stand before you not as a scientist or a technologist, but as a daughter filled with gratitude. My mom is still with us. We don't have a cure for her cancer yet, but the power of genomics and data had given us something priceless, more time together. And that's why I believe that the convergence of computation and genomics is going to revolutionize how we diagnose diseases, how we match the right treatment, and how the patient journey and experience is going to be moving forward. I do believe that the future is at the intersection of biology with computation. And I do feel that this is going to help us build a world where families are not left in the dark, where better medicine arrives faster, and where better treatment options are available sooner. And for families like mine, that's not abstract progress, that's love translated into science. Thank you.